Criminals are like cockroaches. When you see one, there's bound to be more lurking around in the shadows. In this case, we have to look no further than London in 2017, where a series of terrifying attacks were committed over a period of months and police were baffled as to why no one had seen the attacker coming. And the worst part is, they still don't know who he is or where he's hiding. This predator was able to strike at will, escaping each time before the authorities arrived on the scene. He became known as the Stranger 476 Killer. And even though the police had some leads, they never caught him. So here's the mystery of the Stranger 476 Killer. We'll start with how the investigation began. It was July 2017 when officers responded to a report of a woman being attacked in the street. She told them that while she was walking along a residential road, she was approached by a man who tried to engage her in conversation. When she rebuffed his advances, he got angry and punched her in the face. Then he ran off. The woman suffered serious injuries, but managed to make a full recovery. However, similar attacks were reported over the next few weeks. On August 29th, a 78-year-old woman was attacked in the street and pulled into an alleyway. A passerby came to her rescue, scaring the attacker away, but not before he had inflicted wounds that required hospital treatment. The victim's phone and personal items were stolen. Then, on September 2nd, another woman was attacked. This time, the victim was just 16 years old. He assaulted her there, then ran off. At this point, the police realized they had a serious problem on their hands. 3 women had been attacked in broad daylight, all by the same man. Although the descriptions of the attacker varied, the modus operandi was the same. Approach the victim in the street, threaten her. As the investigation continued, it soon became clear the attacker was a stranger. He didn't know his victims and had specifically targeted them because they were alone. That made the police's job harder because the victims couldn't identify him and there was no apparent motive for the crimes. The police released a composite sketch of the man they were looking for. They believed he was in his late 20s, about 5 feet 10 inches tall, with a slim to medium build, short, dark hair, brown eyes, and a light complexion. One witness said he had a strong accent, although they weren't sure where it was from. And another said he was wearing a distinctive gray Adidas jacket at the time of the attack. But these were the only clues they had. And despite a massive manhunt, the police were unable to find him. The media dubbed him the Stranger 476 Killer because the first attack happened in the Strand on 476. But what was strange about the attacks was that they kept happening even after the police presence was increased in the area. The man continued to elude them. On October 2nd, another woman was attacked in the same manner as the others. The killer was becoming bolder. Each time, he chose a different location, suggesting he knew the area well and was purposely trying to stay one step ahead of the police. On October 16th, a 23-year-old woman was attacked, then a 46-year-old on November 1st. Then on November 29th, a 52-year-old was injured. It was during the second attack in January that a taxi driver saw a man matching the composite sketch running away from the scene. But when the police showed the man a lineup of possible suspects, he couldn't pick anyone out. And that was the last sighting of the man. To this day, the police still don't know what happened to him or where he's hiding. As you can imagine, the citizens were terrified. How could a man evade the police for so long? Where was he hiding? Why did he choose these women? And what did he do with the money he stole? Well, the last question is easily answered. According to the police, he only took the victims' phones and personal belongings. He didn't take any cash. That suggests he wasn't motivated by financial gain. And even though no one knows for sure, the police believe he was responsible for other attacks in the area dating back to 2015. This brings us to another question. How did he get away with it? Well, the answer may lie in the nature of the crimes themselves. With each attack, the man showed a disregard for his own safety. He would have known the areas he was operating in were saturated with police, yet he seemed unfazed. That suggests he was either high on drugs or had severe mental health issues. His behavior was reckless and unpredictable, and at no time did he appear to fear the police. He was always ready to run, scaling walls and jumping fences with ease. Even though none of the women were hurt badly enough to be killed, the killer was willing to use extreme violence. In fact, it seems likely the violence was his ultimate goal. Another thing that may have helped him evade the police was the fact he knew the city's transportation system like the back of his hand. At the time of the attacks, CCTV footage showed him using the bus tube and even ferries to travel around. That may have confused the police who were following his movements. There was always a chance the man wasn't sticking to the same route twice, which would have made it difficult to track him. But let's think about it this way. If he didn't know the area, would he have managed to elude the police for so long? Maybe he wasn't a local. Which brings us to another question. Is the Stranger 476 killer still out there? Unfortunately, there's no way to say for sure. But the police believe the crime stopped because he left the city. It's possible he moved to another city in England or maybe even another country. That would explain why the crimes stopped abruptly in January 2018. It's unlikely he would have managed to stay under the radar for so long had he remained in London. The good news is that the killer didn't strike again elsewhere, but that's a little comfort to the women of London who are still wary of strangers. And it raises another question. What are the police doing to catch him? Well, even though they have leads, they're not sharing them with the public. The last thing they want is for the man to go on another crime spree, especially if someone recognizes him and tries to apprehend him themselves. All we know is that the case remains open and the hunt is ongoing. Perhaps one day we'll discover what happened to the Stranger 476 killer, but until then, he'll remain a terrifying enigma. Do you know anything about this case? Did you live in London at the time? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Before you go, please make sure you subscribe to our channel. We have thousands of true crime videos for you to watch, including more stories of criminals who evaded the law.